Hello there YouTube and welcome back. My name is Aquamanson and today we have some very interesting Zenith VR news as they are now opening up to two different games. We'll have the MMO, The Last City, and the new Zenith Infinite Realms game. And yes, they are both under the same name Zenith. So as confusing as that might be, the devs opened up a AMA just the other day to kind of go into their thoughts behind the scenes. And well, I like to leave that with Andy, the CEO of Ramen, to explain a little bit more about that. But first up, just keep this little bit in mind while you watch the rest.
Again, part of our cultural values is to respect the grind. So even though it is a new...
Respect the grind. All right. With that said, let's get into kind of the very beginning. I got some timestamps set aside here so we can get through this a little bit faster. However, yeah, just see what their responses are to the newest updates.
Well, this one comes up a lot. So will The Last City still be updated regularly?
Yeah. So, you know, that's a really good question, right? And it kind of homes into the heart of a lot of the different trade-offs and decisions that we had to make, and you know, fully understand that not everybody's gonna be happy with the things that we're talking about today. Yes. I want to acknowledge that and just say that, you know, I hear you guys. I don't think there was a case where we could have like made everybody happy with such a radical change, but we're trying to do our best. You know, things like progression, giving you guys level boosts, giving you guys the first cosmetic. That was all after like talking to you guys in the forums over the past couple of days, and also talking to the team and figuring out like what could we do given this was the business strategy decision we decided to make. I can't commit to like actively updating The Last City like right after the launch, right? We're gonna have to see how things go with Infinite Realms. But the reason we decided to package everything together is like our hope is that people will, you know, come in. A lot more people will try the game because it's free to play. They'll get this quick hit of adrenaline from playing Infinite Realms, and that some of them may consider going back to Zenith, right? Like when you see when people Zenith The Last City, sorry, when you see other titles go from paid to free to play, or you see free to play titles launch, typically you see an order of magnitude more users, or two orders of magnitude sometimes more users than you might see on a paid game. And so imagine if like we had 10 to 100 times more players, right? We would only need like 10% of those players to want to try The Last City in order for us to maintain just a steady state, right? If more users tried it, it would actually mean there'd be more players that would be coming into Last City.
So right off the bat, their focus seems to be around new players, getting new players in, which makes sense. You want money, you want to, you know, develop further into your game. You want to be a successful business. It makes sense. However, let's continue on. And again, keep that first part in mind.
One thing I'm adding, a lot of side chats say, "Oh, no updates, rip The Last City, whatever." If even Infinite Realms makes like a good amount of revenue, right, and has a good user base, like I get what you guys are saying about updates to Last City, right, but like that's healthy for The Last City as well, because more funds, you know, cosmetics and in-app purchases means that we have more money to support everything we're working on, the Last City included, right? Respect the grind. And so like it's really not a function for me of like whether The Last City is immediately more successful, and it's more like, hey, if you know, if Infinite Realms is really successful and it also happens to bring like the same number of users to The Last City as it was before it launched, we can then invest more money into both things, right? But we'll have to see how that goes.
Okay, so even in that part, they're now focusing on, like I said, the microtransactions, the cosmetics, that extra little bit of money they can get and squeeze out of the consumer base wherever they can. So take a look at this.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead, Chris. Yeah.
Oh, okay. This one was from Gray. So this, Kristen actually liked this question. So this might help them understand a little bit from some of this side chat. What other revenue this is from Gray. What other revenue / new player attraction strategies did you consider and discard before coming up with your free-to-play edition plan for the game? And why did you discard those ideas instead? In other words, what about this free-to-play, pay-to-play strategy made it better than going forward with the game's future? Or another way of going forward with the game's future.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like this question because it was kind of related to another question we've been getting a lot too, which is why didn't you just make the existing Zenith free to play?
Right.
Yep.
Like, why not just do that? And
seems simple.
I mean, it's something to think about, but like,
we should think about it, guys.
With the free to play audience? Would people come in and actually stick and stay if they played the current version of Zenith?
So right there, they're already trying. They know that a free to play, I guess, model doesn't work for their current game. However, a free to play model for this other game that's going to support the old game should take care of it. That should just be no problem whatsoever. Yeah.
Respect the grind.
So super fun. Let's skip forward a little bit more to another example. I love it. Love these contradictions. There we go, right here.
I think we can answer this because I mean it's a pretty easy answer, but someone was wondering if we could just do more advertising for The Last City. But I know that's something we did do a lot of.
We've done a lot to try to advertise. Honestly, like the VR market is not something that's very advertisable right now. So really what you really want to do is to like get hype from content creators and influencers to cover your game, right? Which, like the way you do that is by building a good game, essentially. We've always believed that like if we had a really good game, then the players would come. You respect the grind. You guys might disagree with some of the product decisions we make, which is totally your prerogative and it's totally fair, right? But the reason we've made those decisions is to make game good instead of focus on bringing in like more users.
So right there, the contradictions. So they're switching to, well, now they need to focus on these new players and whatnot in order to continue the progress of the game or even the new game. And I don't see how, so even in your advertising marketing setup there, how are you going to get more streamers, content creators working on those kinds of things when there's nothing behind the scenes? You put things on the back burner. Like I had a short that I made that was, it was really excited, I believe, for update 1.3. That was their resource gathering, mining, all that good stuff. Really thought there was going to be more put into it. I basically stopped what I was doing because I didn't feel like it was worth your guys' time. So I just didn't do anything more to it. And I can't see, with no updates coming, that there's not going to be a influx, I should say, of new players coming into the game, But my favorite part of this, and it still baffles me that this even happened, but I'll just play it and you can judge for yourself. This is what brought me to this whole thing in the first place. So let's play.
Okay. Or if we want to maybe take a couple just from the chat as well.
Yeah, let's do that.
I'll go grab some more questions. We basically went through our list that we had already.
I will be happy to spar with what I'm seeing in the chat right now.
Just
it's
By all
honestly,
means, Andy, go for it.
I'm gonna like, defend our decisions a bit.
Okay. Let's hear
we are not shutting Zenith down. You will still get access to Zenith. How many MMOs develop the game for 2 years, adding new features? I think it's really unfair for people to say, "Oh, we're just like shutting it down," or that we're not, we're like or we're asking for a refund, because no, we're not. The game is still fucking there, right, guys? So just chill out. We'll if we can make enough money to continue investing in the last city, we will. Respect the grind.
I cannot with this man. First of all, you don't insult your customer base. That is number one in doing anything that you need to sell to consumers to continue purchasing. That is one of the stupidest things you can do. And like I said, this is what actually brought me to this video. Why would anybody want to invest more into the new game knowing that the old game is basically dead? Sure, they're keeping the server on, they're keeping the lights on for us kind of thing, but there is no plans for updates. He has gone into this many times. Anywho, there was another question that got brought up by another user that it baffled me, the response. And this is actually a little bit further back in the video, but yeah, just go ahead and take a look.
Okay. Very wanted to know, would she be able to see her friends online in the last city and in Infinite Realms? As her fear is that guilds and friendships be split between both games.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who wants to take this one?
Yeah. Anyone?
That's a good question. I think it makes sense if you were able to see your guildmates and your friends.
Makes sense, but
yes,
not a feature. Yes.
So I think it means like, would you be able to see people online,
Like across
in the last city?
both
right
modes.
When you were in,
like which game they're playing, I guess, is my thought of this.
It's not that hard of a question.
Yeah, I think it makes sense for us to put some development time, but we'd have to do some triaging.
Respect the grind.
It makes sense that we need to put some time into that because, that seems like a logical thing to be thinking about with your friends in an MMO co-op experience that you'd want them to be a part of. But let's not think about the social aspect whatsoever. Next up, a little comparison action. Let's see what Andy has to say.
Not to say that we're never going to come back to it. Like, sunsetting would mean like there's an end of life cycle that's planned.
Yeah. Sorry, they talk about sunsetting too for a minute too, which is actually really funny.
How many games get lifetime updates? I think what you guys are trying to say is, right, you want Zenith to continue being a live service game.
Yes.
And we want it to be a live service game too. We've just told you that business model doesn't work. We spent 2 years and millions of dollars trying to make it work.
Millions of dollars.
Despite best efforts and people working super hard, we just couldn't get it going, right? MMOs are hard. Respect the grind. The expectation is that we're going to build something like Sword Art Online, and
then why did you do it? Why did you pitch an SAO MMO to everybody? That's your customer base. That's where you got inspiration from. Hell, let's go to Zenith's official page. Oh, look at this. A thrilling anime JRPG inspired VR MMO. I wonder what that takes after. Oh, wait, let's use another example. Oh, look at this beauty. I wonder where this beater gear comes from. Not a single anime that I can think of at all that would have drawn anybody into this game. Not in the slightest. But yeah, no, they're not trying to build an MMO or a SAO MMO. That's just hard. MMOs are hard, guys. But my last but not least little clip here is just closing out on their thoughts. Here we go.
There's a lot of good questions, guys. Like, if we're skipping stuff, it's probably because we can't talk about it right now. That's part of a marketing beat or something like that. So just, we're not trying to ignore things just for the sake of it. We just want to answer the one.
I am like actively trying to address like the most controversial comments.
Yeah.
So, like, I hope you guys see that. I'm not shying away from any of the shit.
Seriously, how many developers get on a video call with their players and
or just like I'm just like here listening to like half of you guys yell at us.
First of all, no one's yelling. Just trying to provide focused feedback for you. But you know that if that's how you're gonna take it, so be it.
Which is totally fine. You know, I understand. The funny thing is, like, I do understand where you guys are coming from, right? We really do. I mean, like, we really, really do. But at the same,
you really, really do, huh? You really understand. You really understand the pain of taking away a game that, I mean, you're not taking away. People have access to servers, sure, but you take away that growth of opportunity, the excitement to get back into something new because they know nothing's going to be there. And to all those that have sunk countless hours and hell, the Kickstarters, I think that was one of the questions too. There was a Kickstarter backer who was asking about some of the things that weren't addressed back in the Kickstarter, and they said they'll get to them hopefully in the future.
Respect the grind.
You know, I have to look back through this video, but there's a lot of good stuff in here that I feel like was just shoulder shrugged at and said, well, I hope you enjoy the new game because we're not focusing on the old one. All right, well, that's it for this video. Go ahead and leave a like if you agree that Ramen could just try a little bit harder in making The Last City work in any way, shape, or form. And go ahead and leave a dislike if you think that they're doing everything they can and they're at no fault at all. Anyways, that's all I got for this video. I hope everybody enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.